Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the journey within yourself with me, Eva. So before I start, I'm just going to explain what the video is about. This video is about integration, diversity and separation. So we'll talk about those three, and if you want to know more about integration and accept the challenge, just check the video I've done about integration. I'll try to put the link somewhere. So besides that, I want to also say welcome to this channel. This channel will focus on healing, self-development and your spiritual path on your journey within yourself to become your higher self, and with me while I share my experience, share things I've learned, things that helped me, things that didn't help me, and the message from my guides for you and things that I'm meant to deliver for you. So that's the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please just subscribe to see more videos I do, and click the bell icon to know when they come out, and also click the like button so other people can find it and enjoy this video as well. Then let's delve into integration, diversity and separation. I feel like before I talk about these three things, I probably should kind of have an introduction about myself so you understand. So I have an itchy nose today, not sure why. So I was born in West Africa, Cape Verde Islands, and I'm black. When I turned 17, I moved to Portugal to do architecture. Now, obviously, when you grow up in Africa, you see some discrimination in the sense that it was, how do they say, white people living in Cape Verde have better pays, have better jobs than Cape Verdeans. There is, the lighter your skin is, more people praise you, more people do things for you. It's just, unfortunately, it's the way it was. And obviously Cape Verde is a society based on the mixture of white people and slaves from Africa, so you have these mentalities of both sides. Those are things that I saw in Cape Verde, unfortunately. And also in Cape Verde you would see discrimination towards mainland Africans, and this thing that I hope they don't do it anymore, unfortunately. I don't know, which is what calling them Manjaku. So when speaking with mainland Africans, they did explain to me that Manjaku is a specific tribe, and we just call all of them Manjaku. If you're very dark skinned and you're from West Africa, or if you're from Africa, and you're called Manjaku. But obviously that is a way of discrimination that we had in our society, and it was even inaccurate because obviously not everyone are from the same tribe. Once I moved to Portugal, I was also faced with racism in university, not only from classmates, friends, roommates in the dormitories, and even from teachers, professors. I used to hear things like, "Oh, you're black, but you are okay. I actually like you, even though you're black." Or I was once robbed by a black person, so I don't like black people. I don't have anything against black people, but I would never have a relationship with a black person. Or, "Oh, you are actually a fine little darker skinned person." I'm translating it from Portuguese, but in Portuguese it's more like "és uma escurinha fininha," which is more like, "Oh, you are actually a fine black person," just because my skin is not that dark, but that is still racism. Or things like, my professors saying things like, I don't even know how to translate it and say it in English, to be honest, which was more like, how do I translate this? It was so bad. I can't imagine people would open their mouth to say things like that. And this was a professor that was married with a Cape Verdean man, and it's so shocking that she once said, "Oh, I don't think black people is capable of doing a good project." That is racism. How can you generalize? And she was married with a Cape Verdean, so that was shocking. And it wasn't just that; it was other discrimination you would see, and it was so bad. And I had a classmate. She went to a holiday, a snow holiday, and she came really tanned. And then my classmates were like, "Oh, you're even darker than Eva," because I'm black, of course. And she was like, "No, I will never be." So those are racism. It's like, do not mix me with those people. So those are things that are racism, and I don't think people are aware. And I can only hope that Portugal is better nowadays, but 20 years ago was really bad. Really bad, to be honest. It wasn't just that, there were other things. So those are racism. Those are things I saw in Portugal. I then later on in 2013 moved to China. Chinese are very interesting. They're not used to see a lot of foreigners, so they tend to want to take pictures with you and things like that, which, to be honest, for me wasn't too bad, because as long as my hair was tied back, they would think I'm Indian or a weird Chinese person or something, and then they didn't actually bug me too much to take photos because I'm different. But I saw them doing that with my Mali friend, my friend from Mali, and other people, or if you're blonde or something like that, taking those photos. Or you would want a teaching job, an English teaching job, and you are native but you're black. They would not take you. They would rather take a Russian that's not native, and just because they're blonde with blue eyes. So there were things like that, and that is still racism. Those are things that I saw in China. Or people coming to me and saying like, "Oh, you're actually very pretty. How come?" It's hard to imagine that you're actually black, because black people look like a monkey. So, or people telling me like, "Oh, you're actually the prettiest black person I've seen," or other things of the sort. And I'm still black. Doesn't matter if I'm cute or not. Obviously I was lighter then than now, but it doesn't matter how beautiful my face is, I'm still black. Hearing those things is not a compliment. That is still racism. I moved to the UK in 2016. I would say UK is definitely better, but I would say people are more polite and hide it better. And you definitely see a lot of Indian and a lot of other people, so I do appreciate that there's more diversity, that word again, in the UK than other countries. But I have had situations, I was just walking and speaking on the phone, and I had a weird white lady just calling me nigger and doing all these things. And to be honest, I'm from Cape Verde. Calling me nigger does not hit home, so I don't mind it. It doesn't hurt me, it doesn't do anything. There's just different terms in Portuguese that you use that would hurt me more than calling me nigger. But she was doing it, and I understand the meaning of calling someone nigger and how bad it is. So she was just doing it and screaming at me for 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk. That I was walking from my then job as a kitchen designer to the train station, and she just all the way through kept talking about that. And I was on the phone, and my husband wasn't happy with that. Oh, my now husband wasn't happy with that, and I didn't mind it because she was talking, but she wasn't touching me. She wasn't doing anything that violent, and I've seen so much racism in my life that I didn't mind it. But that is racism. Another thing that I've noticed is on all the jobs I had in the UK, I never saw a black person in management. In all the jobs I've done, and I've done so many different jobs. So that is why equality is needed. I decided to become a life coach, so I'm not dependent on a 9-to-5 job. But imagine you work on a 9-to-5 job. and your colleagues are Indian, Asian, East Asian, black people, or other minorities, or Middle Easterns, those are your colleagues that do the work with you. But then management is all white people, just white people, not just white English, it's white people. When you see that, to what extent you feel inspired that you have an opportunity in that company? To what extent you see that you have an opportunity? And that's just in terms of opportunity. There's the part of your family legacy that white people had a better start in life that most black people or minorities had, and they had to struggle to do things. And all this plays on your mindset and your belief systems and put you down and not feeling enough that you can get beyond. So I would say, even though there's all this diversity, equality things, the problem still persists. You see the UK and you don't see much minorities on higher positions. Sure, now you do see more of ministers or things like that, but that's because of London. London is very diverse, but as you pull away from London, it is not diverse. There's still racism. Even though UK is definitely the country I've been that people hide racism the best. The thing about hiding racism is that it doesn't address the issues. And diversity, equality, sometimes while we're trying to create a solution to help people, we are still hiding racism and we're not addressing the issue, which is mindset, belief systems, and things like that. So that's why I wanted to first talk about diversity. What diversity means. Diversity means nothing. Diversity means that we are different. How are we teaching our children diversity? We are teaching our children that you are not the same as the other child. You are different. We have diverse cultures, sure, but we are all human beings. It doesn't matter our color of our skin, it doesn't matter where we're born, it doesn't matter any of that. We are human. We are biologically human. So it doesn't matter. That said, sure, we want to have an identity and we identify ourselves as black or white or Asian or whatever you want to identify with. But that's an identification. That is you teaching your children about diversity. You saying to your child, you are not the same as the other child. You are different. But where are we teaching equality? Diversity is not. I don't like the word diversity because it causes separation. Every time I fill a form, I have to fill in and say, what's my background? But tell me something. We are trusting that they're making good use of this information. But imagine we suddenly have a second Hitler. What would a second Hitler do with the information about the race of everyone? They would have your address, what race you are, what background you are, and everything. If we had a second Hitler, that would be very problematic. That is such a personal information we should not be putting in forms, because we are trusting that the government are making good use of this information. But are they? Do we know? We don't know. So I would definitely say those forms are the most horrible things that could have been invented. It's as bad as, for example, in Angola, that you on your ID it says what's your race. If you're mixed, if you're mulatto, which is mixed, if you're white, if you're black, and what you are. So that is racism. That is racism. You can call it whatever you want, but diversity is racism. Diversity, end of the day, does not bring to inclusion, equality, and union, integration. So that's why I hate diversity and I'm strongly against diversity. And now I ask you, what's your experience about diversity? Is that something you feel comfortable with? Is that something you agree? Don't just learn whatever people teach. Think for yourself on your message. So this is my opinion, my experience, and why I am against diversity. Because I believe we are meant to create inclusion, to welcome people into ourselves and create integration. Now, inclusion and integration. Inclusion and integration are not exactly the same. It's a step to the other one. I feel like we should start first. That's similar, but in a way, you start first with inclusion, creating politics, creating methods in your business, in your work to include the other person. Inclusion means I invite you in to my space and I accept you for who you are. Integration is more than that. Integration is we are one. I am you, you are I. And I see you and I'm integrating your experience, integrating your life, integrating you. I say, I am you, and I can feel your emotions, I can feel your story, your history, everything that comes with you. That's integration. If you want to know about integration, just check the video about integration. But the first step is inclusion. Let's include other people, let's welcome them. It's like diversity or things like that. It's basically if someone came to live with you in your house, you invited someone over, and then you're like, oh, we are different, you should eat that food and I'll eat this food. We should not do the same thing. Don't be too close. You are different from me. That is diversity. That is differences. And I say there's diverse cultures because sure, there is. I am from Cape Verdean culture originally, so my diet is connected to my culture. My way of speaking, my way of acting is connecting to my culture. Those are things you learn. And anyone can be from different culture. You can find a Chinese, and nowadays you find Chinese Cape Verdeans. So they are from the Cape Verdean culture, even though they're Chinese. They're not native Cape Verdeans, but they're still from there. It's like you find Chinese in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Singapore. Though they are from there, but we're talking about culture. But the Cape Verdean Chinese still, the Chinese Cape Verdean still has a different way of doing things from the Cape Verdeans because they have the flair of China, right? So that's diversity. Diversity is cultural. It's something you learn, and it doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter your gender. You learn the culture. You can become part of the culture even if you weren't born there, and that is diversity. Diverse cultures, we can talk about them. But race, let's talk about equality. We are equal, we are the same, and we should stop with this trend of white people seeing minorities as lesser. We are not lesser, and we should stop the minorities to just ask for crumbs. We are equal, we are the same, and it's not diversity. Let's teach equality. Let's teach inclusion. Let's teach sharing with the other person. So that is what we should be teaching. We shouldn't be teaching about separation. Diversity is separation and leads to racism. Diversity, separation, feeling separated from the other is what gave origin to so many wars. And so much pain and suffering. So let's drop the separation, let's drop diversity, and let's embrace equality, inclusion, integration. So I do welcome you to watch the video about integration and change your mindset and the way you do things. If that's too much for you, start with inclusion. Invite the people from the other cultures, learn about them. That's part of integration already. So just go beyond and see yourself as being equal. You are equal. We have the same biology. We all came from the same humans. So it doesn't matter the color of your skin, the curls on your hair, it doesn't matter the color of your eyes or your body shape. You are human, and we are all human. We are one. And I just want to finish there and say, just welcome inclusion, welcome integration, welcome sharing with the other and accepting everyone as we are all the same. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell icon and click like, and thank you for coming here and being here. I hope I helped you on your journey within, and thank you. Bye bye.